Very good evening to everyone. I am Samhita and I am Assistant Marketing Editor. Today, on behalf of Ratna Sagar, I extend a very warm welcome to all our participants, both on Zoom and on YouTube. We have educators joining across time zones, and I welcome everyone. Our webinar today is on reimagining social science classrooms. Innovative strategies will be conducted by our esteemed resource person, Madam Neera Kohli. Let me introduce our resource person, Ms. Neera Kohli. Madam Neera is a CBSC empaneled resource person for political science and social science and an advisor to the NCERT. With 33 years of rich experience in teaching and administration in a prestigious school in New Delhi, she is a certified trainer from Institute of Secretariat Training and Management on Teacher Training Program, which is in collaboration with CBSC. Neera Kohli has also conducted live sessions on topics from social studies and political science on the prestigious Prime Minister's Vidya portal. She is author of Class 12 sample board papers for political science. She is also the founder of an empowerment program for school students, very aptly called the New Me. That and so much more. Thank you, Ma'am Neera Kohli, for agreeing to conduct the session today. Before I hand over, I will quickly share an overview of today's session. Please listen carefully. We are live simultaneously on Zoom and on YouTube. Some of your colleagues find the Zoom meeting full. Then they can join on YouTube. The link is there on the webinar invite shared with you and also in the chat box. During the session, all of us, except our honorable resource person, will be on mute. Please write in your queries and questions in the chat box. The resource person will answer them in the Q&A section to the last 15 minutes of the webinar. Feedback and e-certificates link will be shared in the chat at the end of the webinar. So I hope the rules are clear. Now over to you, Madam Neera Kohli.
So good evening, everyone. And it's a wonderful opportunity for me, especially I feel, to be connected to you through Ratna Sagar. And I feel very, very grateful to all of you for joining me here along with the Ratna Sagar team. And the theme itself is reimagining social studies classroom. So when we talk about social studies classroom, many of us, we feel that when we take the feedback of the students or they want to take a stream, they say that, oh, social sciences is so boring. So how do we make it more interesting? And that is where this idea of reimagining social studies classroom with innovative strategies came to our mind. So here we are. Before I take you, just let
चल के तुझे मैं लेके चलूं एक ऐसे गगन के तले जहां गम भी न हो आंसू भी न हो बस प्यार चल के.
That is where, dear friends, we really need social sciences to be making these classrooms so hopeful. एक ऐसी जगह पे लेके चले. In fact, NEP also says that. I'm sure each one of you will connect with me on this idea that yes, we really need to make our students happy, and our classrooms can be happy if only we come out with new ideas and realign our students to make the classrooms more interesting. So as just now shared, that these are the four aspects of our our webinar here, that is project-based learning. I'll be touching upon few points: art integration, experiential learning, and competency-based assessments. So all these are basically some of the strategies for 21st century teaching. Here, I would just like to tell you all that when we are dealing with the 21st century students, are we also the 21st century teachers? We really need to reflect on ourselves, that are my ways and means by which I take the ideas to the classroom, are they also aligned to the 21st century students? So that is where we need to delve on this and actually bring about how best I can make my social science classrooms as the most interesting, most innovative, and also most, ideas, new ideas, where we tell our students, think out of the box, think out of the box. But are we actually that kind of a facilitator? I'm sure this 1 hour plus session would really help you to do that. At the same time, I'm sure many of you are, almost all of you, are making those efforts of bringing in the classrooms with new ideas. They are all, the classroom is actually blossoming with those ideas, with your new thoughts, with your new ideas. So let's just move on with the social science. Why do we actually reimagine? Because it is, now the NEP says that we have to shift from rote learning to critical thinking. What is my student doing? Previously, when we studied, we used to be told by our teachers that, okay, this questions given at the back of the chapter, and then you learn it, and then, you write it in this thing. But today's student is given such activities, is given such assignments by which he is racking his brain. He's able to think above everything, and that is where we have to make him wear the cap of critical thinking. Also, it helps us to develop active citizenship and really bring on in them the constitutional values. Again, I would bring in the NEP, where they say that, the historical, the cultural, we have to bring the students closer to that. And of course, when we are there delving into the topics, concepts of social sciences, we are also bringing in, encouraging the inquiry, developing the empathy in them, and also helping them to learn collaborative ways to do various projects, various assignments. So basically, the classroom then would be actually blooming with the real life issues. We can't be just, going back in everything, okay, I used to do this in my college time. No, the present day, the present moment. What are these real life issues? Until and unless we discuss with them, make them aware, they will definitely be interested in social sciences. And with that, it can only come with our creativity, our innovations. Let's delve into the project-based learning. What is it actually? The student-centered approach in which students learn actively exploring real-life problems, real-world problems, in fact, I would say, and the challenges, and what are those questions, which are extended on them. It also encourages inquiry, because this project-based is actually, they will be searching more on it. And also, because it is a project-based, so they will be actually collaborating with it. And a lot of creativity and communication and critical thinking would come out of it. So instead of memorizing the facts, they will apply the knowledge, whatever they have found out, to meaningful projects, so presentations, models, reports, campaigns, and surveys and solutions. So here, when they are encouraging all this, the real world problems, they are investigating, we are encouraging them to work together. And that would actually help them to build up their skills of teamwork, of research, of presentation. These days, we see in our classrooms that some of the students are making outstanding PowerPoints, even better than what we can do. And also, the very beautiful concept of interdisciplinary learning would come there. We are linking social sciences with the present day scenario, giving them some data. We are linking them with mathematics. We are giving them an assignment from this thing, okay, what is the current news? And we are asking them to express themselves. Again, linking it to English language, or in Hindi, maybe Swarachit Kavita Likho. Again, interdisciplinary. multidisciplinary, everything would be coming, they will all be learning through all this, how to interact with other subjects and also have the base of it. And also in the whole process, the project will actually be building the ownership and deeper understanding of the chapter. Like, for example, for a senior class, if we ask them to make a sustainable city model, or maybe a mock parliament, which generally we are doing in our schools, or maybe electoral process. But how do we start from the junior classes as such? I'm sure though that you will be getting in the Ratna Sagar's books, which are there. But yes, when we are asking the students to come to make the sustainable city model, they must know first of all what are those SDGs. What are those 17 SDGs? I mean, many schools have been there, they are displayed there, and many activities are also being shown on the SDGs. But when we are talking about the sustainable city model, they really need to rack their brains. How would they bring it out? So when we start about it, how do we start the first thing? That is, certain steps are there. What are those topics which I'm ready to take, and I should have certain points of inquiry, of research, of creation, of presentation, even for assessing them. We should be also ready with the rubrics, and we should be able to tell the students also. So when we are identifying the driving question or this thing, a lot of planning is required for that. And then, how it can be used in social sciences is because it is project based is also will bring in lot of interactions, lot of experiential learning, and also will be skill based. And where the student would be actually learning about the society, the governance, the history, the culture, the economics, and the current affairs. It's not only about for the senior students, you see. Till now, before the NEP, we were just waiting for the ninth class student to be actually aware of all that. But now it is right from the primary classes, right from the third class. How do we make them understand what is the difference between war and peace? What are they seeing there? If we take 2 to 3 minutes before starting the session, I'm sure the project-based project would be really, really beautiful. So how do we use them? These are certain things, that is like sometimes the historical investigations we can tell them. Sometimes we can ask them, to research certain historical events. And you present the findings through the newspapers, documentaries, timelines, or role play. Like for a senior classroom, even for ninth class, I would say, or eighth class also, create a freedom movement museum. They have all studied in their sixth, seventh, eighth classes. And how do they make that, freedom movement? Who were the leaders involved? What were the movements there? And what were the artifacts which were found there? So this way, they are able to learn. Then not only that, for some civic engagement projects, how do we make them, this, we talk about that, okay, the students of today, they lack the civic values. But how do we actually engage them, bring them here? And yes, with that, many schools have opted for where they would have environment prefects, where their children would be. I went in one school and asked one student, what do you do as an environment prefect? So, no, the basic things, I go to each class and see what are the wrappers just lying around. Teaching a small value is again civic engagement. Students identify the community issues also, and then practical solutions are there, like traffic problems near the school, or even to the local authorities. Somewhere, some kind of things, which are there near the school, which is not there, which should not be there. So yes, like a pan stall or maybe cigarette stall, that should be they can take such measures. They can talk to the local authorities. So here you're also building up for the children the how to connect to the local community. So basically, you will see that, this, when you're dealing with this project based, you will see that it is helping to develop their communication skills because they're coming out with new ideas. You have just given them a small filter and then they will be just coming out of it. And it will naturally develop their critical thinking. And also, of course, by teaching them, empathy and compassion, their life skills are also being developed. And of course, the collaboration would definitely be there. So when we say, we have all heard of the words called as projects. for senior classes, they make the projects, But when we talk of project-based learning, we must be able to know what are the clear features of this projects or the project-based learning. So for the projects, generally it can be done, alone, like no collaboration is required. But for project-based learning, collaboration is required. Focus is generally around the final product. Like if you are given a project, so how the child has presented, all that is there. So this is also very much there. That is, it can be done there. Then is what is there, and here of course it is the learning process that through that the group will have to walk through how that project based learning happened. And then is direction. It is always one, the project is teacher is giving the direction. But here in this is all student centric. And of course, the goals and choices will be, for me, mainly the teacher has given one topic, means one project, the whole class will be doing that. So same goals are there. But here, it will be the outcomes would be different because students would be make different choices. And of course, when they are submitting it to one teacher, but yes, for project based, it can be presented to the whole school because the whole school was involved. So definitely this is there. So of course, this is just few examples which we can take social sciences classrooms, like how the geography can be made more interesting. It can be, based on certain field projects from taking certain surveys, certain mapping activities and environmental studies. And like waste management, of course, this is also very, very important, where we see near the colonies and the localities, lot of these waste is not managed properly, I would say that. And so that way, you can't be talking about the clean living, but here we can take this issue. Then for the economics and the SDG, yes, we can take local economic issues and relate them to the sustainable, as I shared just now, like research on fast fashion or responsible consumption, or maybe even having a mall, or maybe even online payment, how these modes are coming. And of course, the pros and cons of these systems. Then is political science simulations. This is also there where the students can be asked to participate in these mock elections. When generally many schools have had it, for their own school this would council, student council, youth parliament, or even constitution making activities also. So I had mentioned, I had happened to take one workshop last week only on this social sciences, and where I shared that one of the school where I'd gone, so they had very beautifully put it, how to, how the constitution was made. The teacher told me that, it was to give the look of it. So we just took, one plain paper and put it coffee drops and just bring it on and then cut it in such a way with a candle so that, it would give an look, that it is a 50, 60, 70 years old, like that. So this also, I mean, new ideas, of course. This was just an example which I shared with you. Here, just to take it more quickly, I would say that PBL, of course, is a 21st century skills program and enhances the active learning and also the democratic participation. Children are able to learn and retain more. And because things are connected to the real life, this thing, so naturally classroom will be engaged. But the teacher or the facilitator or the mentor is actually, taking a back seat, just guiding from there. So whatever in the some inquiry is there, some research is there, some discussions are there. And I've seen, that students, children of class 5th, class 6th, if you ask them that why you're on the screen, they would tell you, no, we have been given to research something. Because these days, teachers are giving them, some case studies to research for, something like that. And of course, the authentic learning experiences would come out of it. And it also, PBL is also very good. I mean, why I would say that it's a wonderful project method, this is because it encourages reflection. Reflection always helps you to do better. How can I be better, when we have a reflection on ourselves also, where I had gone wrong, where this thing. So like we also share this with our students, that after giving the exam, after giving the test, if they've not scored it well, they will come to you. So here also it encourages the reflection. So these are some of the rubrics, which we can make actually. This can vary also, but this is just the basic to give you an idea, how we can assess the rubrics for the PBL, that is project-based learning. So like what is the criteria, then excellent, good, satisfactory, or needs improvement. So what are the criteria? Research and content, creativity, presentation, collaboration, critical thinking, and communication skills. So these are the basic rubrics. Of course, some you can always change it according to your way, according to your class, according to your need of the class. So, but then yes, these are just the basics, which I have just made. Yeah, and 3 points more were left. Sorry, timely submission. Through these things, we also teach our students the value of time management. We talk about it a lot, but yes, for the submission of any project, they should always be told, that yes, if it is delayed, I will not check it, something like that. Or maybe, minor delays there. Okay, I will just make sure, that you don't lose marks on that. So something like that. Now we come down to the second important and very interesting aspect. I don't need much to tell you about it, art integration, because I know that you all are doing it so beautifully in your different schools. But one thing which is very, very important is that how art integration can actually transform the social science classrooms into spaces of creativity, expression, and meaningful learning. You will be amazed, when you see that the teachers of different schools, how they, when in attending the CBPs, on art integration, how beautifully and creatively they come out with those ideas. It is so amazing. It is so amazing. So basically, what it is, it's an approach to teaching. And I mean, generally we confuse it with art and arts integration. They are two different terms. So here, approach to teaching and with students, they learn through the understanding, and students, they engage in a creative process, which actually connects them into art form of another subject. And that is what it is. Now, when we talk of this thing, what are these basic tools, I would say, and they are that, how do they understand that this is art integration learning? So it will be actually aiming for the basis of learning. It will also be internalizing of the content. How that the content, I can use it in a different forms. Like, if I just tell you that, okay, you just take a dry leaf or a fresh leaf, you can make many things out of it. Recently, I had conducted a workshop where the teachers, I told them to get the school had provided for this again CBP workshop on this. So they had made so beautiful, life of a butterfly, even a nest made out of leaves, with a small bird in it, with the eggs in it. So the thing is, what I mean to say is that, here, this learning can be enhanced through your mentoring the students. And also, what is this way, by which it is not only the aesthetics. Art integration is not only the aesthetics. It has to actually enhance the understanding. And that can be done not only through arts. It can be done through music, through dance, through drama, through painting, through crafts. And you will see that must have witnessed also that when you're doing this, the concept is truly, truly, simplified. And yes, they learn different ways. And we talk about it, that how in social science does it help? So here, because our focus is on social science, so these are the some of the pointers. I would say that enhances creativity and engagement, makes abstract concepts memorable. It supports inclusive and joyful learning. You will see that some of the students, they are not attentive, or their handwriting is not good, or maybe they are not writing well, or maybe even they are finding difficult to learn few things. But you will find here that they are actually joyfully participating in this. An example is like, like suppose, let's say we talk about the folk art. So many of this thing is there, in the different cultures, different states. You give them just that you have to represent. They will come out with beautiful ideas, on that, or even on role plays. No, here just I've given the example of freedom struggle because that in all the classes, they are touched upon. But yes, the role play can actually bring out the main essence of the topic or the concept. And of course, this is so beautiful, learning through visual arts, music, theater, storytelling, and crafts. We have seen that, so many wonderful ideas which will be coming, and that is there. Let's go. So now when we come, let's go. experiential, multidisciplinary, and skill based. So basically, through arts curriculum, they will be introduced to the rich and the varied artistic tradition of the country. What is it? I mean, this infographic only will tell you everything. What is India about? And in fact, I would share with you that many of our textbooks are having such beautiful collages, some pictures, or even on the cover page, even inside it also. And you can just talk about it. Even where, it is written just a page on a page, the preamble is written. Have they revised it? You can just show them some of the videos. Or even for Vande Mataram, some the basic things, also. But then how the students would be interested or, by the rich and the varied culture of a country. And that is what NEP talks also about it. So here is also, of course, that, these are the different forms of visual and performing arts where our country is rich: dance, music, theater, and where, some of the things which you have not heard of it. So you can just give an example of even 26th January parade, where the tableaus are being presented and how each state actually presents the rich culture of that uh, particular state. So that is what it is through the performing arts and the visual and performing arts. And of course, this is what it is. Now CBSE board has said that art education should become a tool and a subject taught in every school as a compulsory subject up to class 10. So that is also very much there, where we really need to rack our brains as we are making the plan. It is not just about, dear friends, I must say that with my experience, I've seen that where you are just fixing the things, with the number of periods given, number of this thing, there the real joy of learning misses out. So when we really, really need to think about it, that how do we go beyond that, so that then only actually the interest would be there. So very beautiful line. Emphasis should be given to the learning rather than teaching. And approach should be participatory, interactive, and experiential rather than instructive. So many a times we as teachers, we are always in that mode of, giving instructions, do this, do that. But even if you just read one paragraph from the newspaper and tell them to express themselves as creatively as you can, I'm sure they will be doing wonders. So, and another aspect here is, that many times we hear the parents being critical of this thing. Okay, what is the school doing? Why so much of importance to the arts? So here comes the orientation for the parents also, where we can talk about as to what is expected of them and how actually we are building our students' curriculum, what they are being given, into a holistic curriculum. We are not just talking about it, okay, English, Hindi, math, science, it's not about the subjects, but it is also about how do we really build, the different things, which will be amalgamated into their curriculum. So here are some of the things, which interesting pictures I found, and I thought for the planet, continent, country, flora and fauna, artwork, role play. These are all EVS, where junior class they can be told about. Then is the life cycle of a butterfly. This is also one school's work only, where the butterfly is there. They have drawn it also, but then how different stages. So here comes the integration of language as well as the artwork with EVS. And then, of course, is this that, these are also some of the projects which are there. And like Under the Sea, they have made a flip book. Again, this flip book is also very, very beautiful. And where, they are able to see this, that, even sculptures, many schools have had that. And then, of course, is environment, plant life, and of course, best out of waste. This, of course, for the senior classes, but yes, for 8th class, 6th, 7th class, just to recapitulate the thing. So, sorry for that. Like this mind map is there, on global warming. So this can be taught. In fact, it's a very good activity once the chapter is done. Let the children come out with it. What are the basic things? Like I came to know about a child, who was a third class or fourth class child, and he was just talking about the different Vedas names. How did he remember? So one teacher was sharing this that she just asked them to make a mind map, and very beautifully he came out with the four main Vedas and what are the names and what does it main constitute, what does it contain. So meaning to say is this, that it is up to us how we actually open them up, how we actually tell them that this is what is needed. This is what is it. This is of course the virtual tour and all, we all are familiar with it. Next. Yeah, of course these are various the board decorations, and these are some of the activities which can be used right from third class onwards to the 12th classes, like field trips, narratives, simulations, games, storytelling, focused imaging, field observations, role playing, model building, surveys, and conducting. You see, you will see that all these things, you can't do it in 1 year. But yes, when the faculty is sitting together in your school, you can always bring about how do we integrate some of these activities. Maybe some we take for class fifth, some we take for class sixth, some we take it. So this way, depending on the class. But of course, each school is actually organizing the field trips. It is not limited to only the 10th or 11th classes. It is not only limited to only that, even some schools are having 1 day camp in their own schools. But you see how much effort that would go if you're staying in the school for one night. But then a lot of them would say, oh my God, what a enjoyment it was. Because at night some kind of an activities would be there. In the morning they're getting up early. Some of them would be crying. Some of them, they would be all, just different kinds of stories they would come out of it. And that is what it is, real life experience. That is what social sciences actually is. So what are the different steps which I would say that, following while the integrated arts within the subject is concerned? First is the ice breaking switch. So what is that? What is the topic which I want to take? That they have to. Then is the integration stage, where the topic will be amalgamated with the art integration concepts what we are taking. And third would be the reflection, that how has it come out? Has it really brought out the concept? And last would be the assessment. So here, just few pointers. I just thought, this can be actually, it'll be for thinking, to put your thinking cap on. Like you must have as teachers, as a clear vision or goals for what is it that a class aligned. Like all the schools, most of the schools, I think these days in their almanacs, they have their vision, they have their, different kind of what are the goals of this thing, everything. So for that, the same way, for the topic also, we must have certain goals, certain visions. What am I going to achieve out of this? It is just an art activity. Otherwise, they will be considering only that activity. If the no learning is there, if it is only cutting, pasting, or decorating the board, it has to be above that. Also, we should be able to differentiate between art as a subject and arts as a tool for teaching. So how beautiful, it is not art only, but if it is giving us a message, if it is relating it to certain thing, which is value creating, that is a tool for teaching. And of course, flexibility and cooperation. And of course, these days, AIL activities which are there. And again, diverse art forms which are to be used. And again, that is there, creativity is there. So here is some of it, like the role play is there, folk dance for cultural diversity, poster making on fundamental rights, timeline, collage of historical events, map art. These are various, some of the activities, patriotic songs, street plays, comic strips, constitutional values, certain things which are there, which are of integral value for their becoming a good citizen. I think for that we must focus, because many a times, the students, when they reach up to the 16 or 17 years of age, would not know anything about the Constitution, or maybe forgetting about it. But yes, at the same time, it is so very important that for each one of us, we must link all these things, with their learning. So here in this class, it is for whose role? The role of a mentor, guide and facilitator. And of course, the doing is all for the student. And that will actually enhance their learning process. Now we come back to the third aspect, that is the experiential learning in social science, which actually transforms the social science from textbook knowledge into the lived understanding. That is what my experiences are. What am I have? Many a times, we tell our students, okay, go back to your grandparents, and talk about what was his learning when the partition was there, isn't it? And so many activities we tell them to do where the actual learning happens, and the child is able to experience their thoughts, their expressions. That is it. So basically, in common words, it is learning by doing. That is, they are learning through their hands-on experiences, their reflections, their observation, their active participation. You would say that a class 3 child, if he goes for a nature walk, what does he get out of it? Lot of concepts he would be learning through that nature walk. You have made in your school wall, there is a word wall. You would say, what is it? But those words which have been put there, that word wall is actually enhancing not only their vocabulary, but also letting them go into what goes back in that world. What is that word? One word, if they are learning about it. So basically, the features which would be there is the real life learning, as I said. And of course, the students is very active. And also the student learns to reflect and analyze. Again, both are 21st century skills. And whatever application knowledge they have done, they also learn to apply it. So Bloom's taxonomy, that will also come into it, that what is the knowledge which we are going to test here, we are going to apply here. So basically, you can say this. Experiential learning cycle. What is this cycle? So it is abstract concept is there, then actual transfer, trying it out, then is concrete experience, and then is reflecting. And then again, if the need be, it has to be, worked upon. So of course, in this, the teacher is only the role of a facilitator, but at least she will be encouraging, or you will be encouraging what are the basic learning experiences they are having, how they can be an encourager of reflection, how they can actually teach them that what is this thing, they are learning in this. That is what is experiential learning. So they are basically, teachers are provider of feedback, model of lifelong learning, because with the experiences come the retention in the brain, the direct connection with the hand and the brain. So if they've learned something, it will always be retained in their minds. And that is what it is, because children will be continuously growing and learning to adapt things, and also would be understanding what are the various perspectives. And in their mind, many questions would also come. So which will actually add to your teaching experience also. Because if you ask them, okay, you get the ideas, how would you do it? That is what it is. So it is important in social science. Yes, we all know it, because it is connecting theory with the real life. It is not just about the book, but it is actually about the real life. It is also helping the student to learn to develop the critical thinking, problem solving. How do they come to such a solution? Then how do they enhance observation and inquiry skills? How do they encourage empathy and civic responsibility? How do they make the learning meaningful and engaging? So that is what it is, where the role of experiential learning, you will see that, yes, the children are able to do that. And then, of course, is that because they are doing it, they are also reflecting on it, and they're understanding new things. So these field visits, surveys, simulations, and heritage walks. All these are there, they can really work very well. And the children are able to encourage, they were able to observe things. And of course, it strengthens the civic awareness. There's there. So these are some of the assessment methods, you can say, because the students are, really, they are able to develop the critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. So what are the assessment methods? We can either ask them to, reflection journals can be made, peer and self-assessment, presentation project work, portfolio assessment, and even certain observation checklists also can be made. So knowledge is experience, everything else is just information. So wonderful this quote is, that is, we don't gain this knowledge if we don't experience it. Otherwise, everything is there in the books. But unless and until they come out of that mode, experiencing it themselves, they will not be able to understand. The concepts won't be clear. Coming to the last part of the session, that is the competency-based assessment in social sciences. So when we talk about this competency-based assessments, I'm sure each one of you must be knowing the word basic meaning of competencies, because this is very, very important and integral part of our present day teaching learning process. Because competency basically focuses on application of knowledge and skills. It measures critical thinking and problem solving. It is able to do that. And also it uses different kind of sources, like case studies are there, maybe source-based questions, projects are there. And also they help to encourage reflection and self-assessment. And it is totally aligned to the NEP 2020. And whatever the CBSE is bringing in the new reforms, so competency-based assessment is totally there. Innovative assessment tools, yes, they are there because these were not there very much common in previous years before the NEP. So like the rubrics and checklists. So for every assessment, we need to make the rubrics and certain checklists also. And also there is an assessment. It is not only by the teacher, but it is also by the peers. And another assessment, important assessment, is the self-assessment. And then comes another one, portfolio. Whatever work they have done, that is also, assessed. That can be. So it can be only competency based. The best part is that it cannot be only paper pen test. It has to be different. Then, of course, the quiz games, the exit tickets, the role play, presentation based evaluation. How do they do it? How do they present it? And that is also can be a form of the role play. So it is not only, so it becomes more interesting and more interactive. And of course, it is more onus is on the teachers, how do we do it? It was more easier for us, all of us, when we used to give them paper pen test. But now that thing is really outdated. And another aspect is technology integration, digital storytelling, virtual tours. So even, they are making these storyboards. Many places I've seen, that the children are making these storyboards. So digital storytelling, of course, virtual tours, interactive maps and simulations. So how these things can be done. Gamified, of course, a lot of gaming is there now on the learning platform, that how do they make it? And recently, in one of the workshop, we did this making a tambola for the social science teachers. When we conducted this, even snakes and ladder also I have seen. That has also become one of the common games can be just taught, and then you can just take help of the digital technology. Collaborative tools like Padlet, Canva. So some of these are just basics, but here I just mentioned two. But yes, lot of other which are there. You are making this Quizlet and other things are there. So AI assisted learning and teaching. That is where this really competency based assessment you are able to help that. Now, what is the role of this thing? It is again same. Because again, 21st century skill teacher, so the role is facilitator rather than only the information provider. So it is not about gathering the information. It is about, everything is about how do we take it and how the design is to be made meaningful learning experiences. How do we encourage curiosity and questioning? How do we provide constructive feedback? How do we create inclusive and democratic classrooms? So it is very, very important, I feel that for this competency-based assessment, that how do we, more onus is on the teachers. And of course, there are certain challenges also, but then always for a challenge, for a problem, there is a solution. So if there is a time constraint, yes, that is a challenge, big challenge. Children are taking a lot of time, but then what do? You have to integrate across other subjects. If it's a large classroom, go for collaborative group work. If there is an assessment pressure, you just balance those assessment methods, like I told you just now about the role play and things like that. If you have limited resources, use the local and the community resources. Again, take the support of community. If there is resistance to change, like some people, they don't want to, parents would say, what is all this? Why we are doing this? Then actually where the continuous professional development is becoming there. That is, we need to be updated ourselves, and we need to actually be update the parents, community, who are actually making it happen, that, okay, there is the resistance is there. So this is again a very nice cartoon, For a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. So the examiner is telling the animals of different abilities and disabilities to climb that tree. So you can just see that in the classrooms, we should not be doing this. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. So again, this is what we should not be doing. So of course, from rote learning, where we were, to competency-based assessment, if we are coming up to, then it is memorization. Previously, it was recall-based. All the recall questions we used to do, we used to make them single correct answers, and single correct answer, we used to make them teacher-centered, marks-oriented. But now, when we are doing competency-based assessment, we are also doing developing their understanding, that is delving into the concept more application-based, multiple perspectives, learner-centered, and also growth-oriented. So if suppose I just give you one example here, the traditional assessment would be that if I ask you, okay, define democracy. But the competency-based assessment would be, if I turn this question into this way, how does democracy help citizens participate in governance? So this way, the simple questions can be converted into the competency-based questions. So what is the key role? How do we make these principles as creative, high-quality assessments? So test the key concepts and core knowledge, not the peripheral facts. So what are the overview? Don't take just the helicopter view of the concept, but just go deep into it. What is that key concept? What is the knowledge which is trying to share? That is what it is. Then utilize the unfamiliar questions in terms of framing or context. It's very important, sometimes we are just so used to it that we give them those familiar questions. But let them, how will they actually learn to think out of the box? How will they learn to apply knowledge of the concept if you don't give them unfamiliar questions? So whether it is in terms of framing or in terms of explaining things when you're taking the chapter, you really need to do that. Include questions of varying difficulty levels in the exam. So really, you need to work on this thing, that how these questions can be, of different levels in the exam. And also from the reliable sources of difficulty. It is not that, I made any ordinary question and I say, okay, this is a hot question because I have to write it in my lesson plan book. No. How an ordinary question become from low order to the high order? How would it become? That is where the effort has to be there. So here, if in the competency-based assessment, if we say that this is an important good tool, how would we assess that? So reliability, validity, objectivity, adequacy, balance, all these points would become. And the questions which you have made, it should be simple, clear, definite, and at the same time thought-provoking, and adapted to the age and ability and the interest of the students. So like in this also, you've seen that the elephant can he climb the tree? Monkey can climb the tree, but yes. So here the abilities of the students also we really need to keep it in mind and requires an extended response. For competency question based assessment, we must have those, give them certain loops that where they can be extending their response, that is where they will be applying their critical thinking. So these are some of the, just an example types for this thing. I've just taken from this, how would you make a low order question into a high order and from high order to competency based assessments? Simple. What is democracy? High order would be why is democracy important? And competency will be a village is not allowed to elect its representatives freely. How would this affect the lives of the people? So here, competency based, you can see that child should be actually clear with all the concepts underlying the democracy, right? So this was just an example. For the competency-based assessments, now, dear friends, we must activate their prior knowledge. What is it? What is it that before this chapter, they were actually understanding? Or what was their knowledge about it? So even if you're just talking about war and peace in class 3 or 4, what is it? So just tell them, okay, maybe, you draw something, what is it? Or maybe quickly write 2 lines. Class 5 students can do that. Even class 6 can start writing, journaling about it, how to write it. So this is basically, certain ideas where, yes, you can just ask them, increase, tell them, just think about it, think about it. They will definitely be doing that. So what is basically the competency based is this. Actually, its vision is. So its vision is that it is student centered classroom. And also, not only that, student-centered classrooms. That is, they will be making everything will be, the teacher is just a facilitator and the classroom is centered around the classroom. Then is inquiry-driven and skill-based learning. So where the students are, asked questions and his curiosity is aroused, where yes, he wants to learn more. What is it? What is it Nam is trying to tell you? Skill-based learning. Integration of SDGs and global citizenship, where the SDGs come into it, where the global citizenship comes to. How do I become, खाली सर्वे भवंतु सुखी नाम कहने से नहीं है global. How do we make them? How do we make them understand that yes, we are all universal? What are these universal values? Inclusive and experiential pedagogy. We are preparing the learners and for the democratic participation, where each one is learning new thing, and they are also sharing it. And also it is inclusivity is there, where everyone is allowed to participate. Then it becomes totally, the competencies are enhanced. It's a very wonderful cartoon, and that is, I taught Stripe how to whistle. I didn't hear him whistling, but I said I taught him. I didn't say he learned it. So just see the idea which is there. So here it is only how to whistle. And then he said, I didn't hear him whistling. But he said, I had taught him, but I didn't say that he should learn it. So this is what it is, certain things are there which we are actually bringing them about, how to increase their understanding of this. Again, a very good point. Competency-based assessment, the purpose of assessment is to increase the quality, and evaluation is to judge the quality. Like, you can just see too short, this plant is too short, does not have enough leaves. So that is what. So I have judged it that this plant will never grow, right? But competency-based assessment is that we have to enhance their quality, right? So these are different types of, I don't think so you will be, you are all aware of, because you are all teaching here, that what type of questions we can give to the students, and competency based assessments. There are quantitative techniques and there are qualitative techniques. And in the quantitative, there are different types, oral, written, practical questions like that. So reimagining social science classrooms, when we talk about it, we say that innovative strategies for 21st century teaching, we have learned just a recap of whatever we have understood. I'm sure all of you will be aware now. So project-based learning, basically, it is real-world problem solving. It is inquiry, collaboration, and creativity. It is student-centered learning experience. And experiential learning is learning by doing and reflecting. Heritage walks, surveys, simulations, field visits, and also it connects the classroom learnings with the real-life situations. And art integration is learning through music, theater, storytelling, visual arts, and they enhance the engagement and creativity. It makes concepts meaningful and memorable. And competency based assessment is focusing on the skills and application of knowledge, case studies, source based questions, and projects. So basically, they are all thinking, increasing, enhancing the thinking and the problem solving. And I'm sure after all this, you will be in this mode. Let's see this beautiful video. Sorry for that.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back.
So this video actually, why I wanted to play with this, that if we are happy ourselves, we are definitely going to create the happy classrooms, and that also of social sciences. So we have many tools in our hands. Many of us, we are actually on the learning new techniques, attending these workshop sessions, and giving our best. How do we give our best? So only if you are happy. That is why I played this song for all of you. So big thank you to each one of you for attending the session. I'm sure each one of you must have taken some takeaways. And yes, over to the host. And any questions? Yes, if you have, please. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for
So,
the wonderful
very much,
session.
ma'am.
And
Yes, ma'am.
I would now take up questions which were there on our in our chat box. But first of all, there's a lot of appreciation for you for the kind of things that you've shared, and we have so many teachers saying that they're going to take it to their classrooms and all the activities there. They've also asked us how can we get the list. Teachers stay connected with us on social media, and we keep on posting there. So the questions which are here are, the teacher says, how with teacher being a guide and the freedom given to the children, can I ensure that every child in my class is participating?
1 minute, please. Yeah. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. So the teacher says, earlier in your presentation, you had mentioned that the teacher is like a guide,
Yes,
a facilitator. And
facility.
so when we give the activity to the child and there's a classroom full of children, how do I ensure that every child is included in the activity or would like to participate and is participating?
I would say that, this the teacher who is asking that, it is again, it lies on our shoulders. How do we take it forward? Because you will see that in the class, there are children of different abilities and also these days disabilities. Some of them cannot do this thing. So how do we take them? How do we make that classroom as inclusive? Again, the role of the facilitator. How do I make the best of it? When we are just talking about. So if suppose you have taken a project, maybe you can just delegate that project to some students who are not good in writing skills. But some of them you will find that they are actually good in expression. So let them, we give them different kind of experiences. We don't stick to it. So here the flexibility aspect would come, where each one of us, we would say that no, the teachers really, teachers are, going above and beyond, I would say that. So that is also there.
All
I
right.
hope that,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was a very beautiful explanation of how the teacher can take it
Yes.
forward. You mentioned something about portfolio assessment. Can you throw some more light on portfolio assessment?
For the portfolio assessment, if I'm not able to hear properly, is
Yes,
it
that is what it's written. You mentioned portfolio assessment. What is it exactly?
portfolio? You see, many a times, it's like a sort of like a project only, and where we tell them, that you make the project in that, like suppose they have made it, on the plateaus of India, on the or social sciences, and they how do they make it, so we would be giving them in the creative form. They will be bringing about certain pictures, certain local, people, what are they wearing, what are the foods which are grown there, all those things would come. And then you have to make certain rubrics, that how is it creative, is it expressive, is it adaptable, it is like with the what is say, it is colliding with the concept, with the knowledge which I want to give. It is anything out of the new idea, which the child has brought forward. So portfolio is also like, that way they can just present it in this manner, that the teacher, it's a collaboration, but portfolio is generally a single child's work. It is not about the group work like a project-based learning. Yeah.
So the
But
entire
yes, certain rubrics have to be made clear. You see, for any kind of assessment, I would share here on this platform is, for any kind of this thing, this teacher also has to, because these days the understanding of the things are very, very, this thing. Even parents also want to know on which part they will be judged, on which part they will be scoring. So they want to know that. So let us, give them that idea. Okay, this is what it is. On this aspect, you will be learning. Like for any music competition, I would say, what will be the tone of the voice? What is the song choice of the song? For like that, we give them certain rubrics to the judges. So here we tell them to the students also. That is there.
Like the learning assessments, learning objectives being related to the assessments.
Yes, yes, yes.
Ma'am, you mentioned something about quiz games and exit tickets.
Yeah.
So what are exit tickets?
Okay. So if I'm allowed to say, what is the exit ticket for the experiential learning? If I may ask any of the teacher, I would give them 3 questions for that. What are the 3 points which they learned from the presentation which I showed them? That would be the exit ticket.
All right.
Okay. So in that, they are learning that they are actually comprehending whatever they have learned it. Then they have just put it in 1, 2, 3. These are the exit tickets. That is, exit ticket is actually once I'm exiting this thing, what are my things, 3 things which I'm going to take it back to my classroom. What are my learnings from that? So exit ticket is that. Yeah.
All right. I think that's a very simple and clear, explanation. We'll do an exit ticket at the end of the session.
Yes, I'm going to do that.
Right.
So
my
right,
next question is that how can art integration in SST be used not only to improve learning outcomes, but also to support students' emotional and mental well being in today's classroom?
Wonderful, very beautiful question. You see, these days so much of talk is going on about mental health and well-being of the children, which is very, very important, and which each one of us, each teacher faces in their own classrooms, whether in the form of bullying or whether in the form of abusing or whatever it is. There may be many, many things, and that is why I think the role of the social science teacher plays a major role, where she can choose certain things, by which they are able to express, like just using one phrase, what if, just tell them, okay, ask, what do you want to know? The topic will be, what if she'll give them one activity. What if I found two children fighting in the canteen area? What if I found two boys kicking in the bus, in the school bus? What if I found three students throwing out of the window and a scooter rider was hit? So
Okay.
here they are learning new things, but then at the same time building a empathy, building a compassion. The scooter rider, the rider who is there on the road, is being hit by the small paper, and it hits his eye and he crashes on the road. You are developing an empathy in the child. That is where social science teachers can actually bring out the various emotional levels, and they can be actually talking about, "Okay, what is it, we are the ones, where we say that we are all one planet. Why don't we give respect to them? Even giving respect, you see, we have seen that the students, when as they're growing up in the senior classes, they won't respect the teacher or even schools. But there are certain students, who would actually come back to it, that yes, this is what I have achieved, right? So here it is. Maybe, those teachers must have been able to actually weave that kind of a bond with them. I think social science is only about bonding with the students. That is why we always call it, it's an old statement, man is a social animal. But I think the social science teachers have a lot to do about it. That how do we bring in those aspects to them? So we weave them into that and we teach them, the concept. Small story, that story of Ubuntu, African fable, if I can share here. Yeah.
Please do, ma'am. Please do.
So that is, I mean, many of you must have heard it, but that is what it is. Where a geography, person, geologist, he was going into Africa and he saw a group of students playing there. And he told them that he had a basket of lemons. And he told them, okay, just, whoever will win the race will get this basket. And he just stood there, started, taking the pictures, and there all the children in that garden, they formed a circle. They moved around in the circle only. So ultimately the professor stopped them. What are you doing? I told them to run and race. He says, no, sir, in our country, in our culture, we have the concept of we, not me. So if we are all, now you have given us a basket, we all will be taking one lemon out of it. Only one child will not take the whole basket of lemon. That is where the responsibility of the social science teachers, where we really need to knit them, weave them into bringing in the concept that we, from me to we have to. Children are very much me. Even at the home also, all the places you will see, I is predominant. But then from I to we have to bring them. Then you will see that you have raised such wonderful citizens. You will be proud of them. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for that answer. My next question is, with limited time and resources, how can teachers effectively integrate art into subjects without compromising on syllabus completion?
Yeah. So I know that for all the teachers, the syllabus is there, lesson planning is there, but that goes for the concrete planning. How much planning we can do? And that planning is actually very, very crucial. And especially with now the new changes have come, which has NEP has brought, where the pressure is declining. Even the courses, the chapters are decreasing, so that that pressure is not there on the child and even on the teacher also. So this way now we ultimately, we can bring that quality teaching into our everyday teaching, where we don't figure it out that way. And that is why you see, even NEP says now the student can, after 10th, he can take a drop. After 11th, he can take a drop. So that means when this time of a curriculum is there, where not lot of pressure is there, then we can actually bring in the quality into the classroom. And here I would just like to share with all of you who are there in such a great number, is that, we really need to actually work on ourselves. Like, how do we connect the dots? We connect the dots of our life, Even on the roadside, you will see a small board and you will see that it is written there, work in progress. So that work in progress is actually we, all of us. Ultimately, we really need to work on ourselves. How do we actually bring out the best? Am I reading certain books? Am I sharing with my kids? Am I doing certain new things? Am I actually now learning to, like I can say that I'm a freelancer, but I keep on attending a lot of AI tools, webinars. And that, of course, I'll say that I attend only free ones. Because you see, what happens is that that learning never stops. So I always go with a beautiful quote of Maya Angelou, that I have learned that I still have to learn. So when we talk about all this, then I don't think so any planning and anything will, we will be failing in that. No, we will always be. Because we also should see to it that we are those dots, where we have to complete, and where we are there, where we are completing, our ourselves, and we can say that, yes, I'm proud of myself. How many books do I read in this 1 month break is there? How many books I will be reading? Or I'll be just involved in my other course and all that. No, I have to enhance this thing also, So how do I learn new things, and how do I give those new learnings to my classroom? We have to do that. I hope that is.
And I think, ma'am, what she says means, because her own profile ends in the end with lifelong learner.
Yeah.
So that is how she actually walks the talk.
Yes.
So my next question to you is from Megha, who asks you how to make a critical thinking based assessment paper for a class which includes all kinds of students with different proficiencies.
With different
Proficiencies.
Okay.
Proficiencies.
Yeah. So that is where you see, we have all, I think many schools are now also insisting that the teachers should make certain questions for the bright students. We don't call them the gifted or the bright, but yes, we term them as the lots questions and the HOTS questions. High order thinking skills and the low order thinking skills. So when we are concentrating on that, I think we'll be able to disseminate the concept that what are my different students, levels of the students, where they are able to, able to understand or perform. And I'm sure that some of the students in our class who are actually shining. So we really need to think about it. But many times what happens is that many teachers, they would say, okay, they are very good in this thing, so let him just help. So, buddy training, buddy teaching. But you are not giving the opportunity to that child who is bright in the class to learn more, to take a step forward. So it is very, very important. That is why it's a very good question that we need to keep our assessments, forms of assessments, our keep of, what are the new learnings which I'll be giving to the class. It is very important where we really need to focus on that, so that every child of my classroom, I am able to enhance his productivity in terms of marks.
Thank you so much, ma'am. There are many more questions, but we will take a break now. There are some teachers who asked for what happened who joined late. Teachers, we've also streamed it live on YouTube. So the recording is there on YouTube as well. So whenever required, you can go and visit and you can see the entire session there. You can also connect with us on our different social media platforms. And with that, I would also like to thank Neera Kohli ma'am for this wonderful session. Our chat box is overloaded with appreciation for the session. It was so wonderful. So thank you so much once again. And thank you.
In gratitude to each one of them for being there and also encouraging. This is also very, very encouraging for all of us when we are there on one platform. And I'm sure each one of you, and kudos to you also from you and your team from Ratna Sagar, who could arrange at such a large scale and very, very meticulously. I think you planned the program. Again, that goes for your credibility also, because assessment is always the learning outcome. So if the teachers are happy with the outcome of the session, you should all take the credibility for that. Thank you so much to each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, teachers, also for staying with us. And it's so surprising that not even one dropout we had, neither here, neither in the YouTube. It was you were here constantly and consistently with us. The numbers remained same. We are now going to be pasting the feedback and the e-certificate link. You can please click on it, download the form, fill it up, and you should do it within the next 24 hours. After that, the link becomes dysfunctional. So thank you once again, teachers. Have a great day till we meet for our next session. Stay connected with us on our social media link. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
So we've already posted the link. You may please click on it.
Good evening. No.